What is going on, guys? It's Tony, and in this one, we had the Arizona Diamondbacks defeat us for the second straight game in a row to win the series, to take 2 out of 3. They beat us 3-1. It was just a game, similarly to last game, in which I thought, it was a game that we could have won and maybe that we should have won, right? But we just didn't. And, just to put it in simple terms, these are just growing pains, and that's simply what this is. Every MLB team goes through growing pains, and they lose to teams that they should not be losing to. That's the nature of a 162 game season, and that's just the nature of baseball in general. You can't take any team for granted because it doesn't matter how bad, a team might look on paper, right? Obviously, going out there, it's a mental thing, right? 9 innings, it's a long season. These are growing pains, and I'm not surprised that the Dodgers lost this one. This is the second straight game in a row, but it's been a pretty long road trip for them, right? So I do expect them to come back to LA for the next series against the Tigers to win that series, right? That's a much more winnable series. I'm not saying this one wasn't as winnable, but when it's a long road trip, right? When slowly but surely pitchers are getting injured, right? Or whatever the case is, it's a long season. But let me just go ahead and just, talk about the game in general, right? Obviously, we had Julio Urias pitch 6 innings, which is always a good thing to see. I mean, he was just dominating, other than the home run, that Arizona hit, it was Ahmed off of Julio Urias. So, it's just one run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 6 innings. I mean, that's a good outing from Julio Urias. And the crazy thing is, this is not even the best he can do, right? This was a good performance from him. He put us in a winnable situation, right? Because when you allow your opponent just one run, at least through 6 innings, with this Dodger lineup, you'd expect them to, take care of business and to get runs on the board, right? But obviously they just couldn't, right? 2 errors. This is the second straight game with an error, so the Dodgers need to clean up defensively, just do a better job at fielding and just, because Arizona, they didn't do anything spectacular this game, right? They hit a home run, they capitalized on an error, right? But that's about it. They didn't really do much else. So when I'm taking a look at it from that perspective, the Dodgers had more hits, right? And normally the team with more hits usually wins, even though they had a couple more walks. Arizona just took advantage of our mistakes. We even tied it at 1-1 with Trey Turner's single. But let me go over specific players in general. Obviously, Julio Urias did a good job. But Mookie Betts came back with 2 hits and a run. So, obviously last game he went hitless. And I'm not concerned at all, right? Because obviously he had 2 homers against San Diego. So overall, this road trip was a pretty good road trip. I think we went 4-2 or something like that over this road trip, which is always a good thing. Freddie Freeman, this is an uncharacteristic game from Freddie Freeman. No hits, no walks. He it just looked uncharacteristic of him. So, it is what it is. Games like that happen. Trey Turner, like I said, this entire season, he's been just that guy, that third guy who can get us runs, who can get RBIs, right? Obviously, he was the one with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the 8th inning to tie the game up. So good for him. Max Muncy with 2 walks. In fact, the only 2 walks. So not only did he have the 2 walks, but his on-base percentage is just continuing to grow. I mean, he's batting 155, but his on-base percentage is 347. So that just goes to show, he might be struggling in terms of actually getting hits right now or whatever the case is. But pitchers still have to respect Max Muncy in the sense that, he can get a homer off of you. He can get hits off of you. All it takes is one game, and he will continue to do what he's been doing, being patient at the plate, getting walks. So it's just unfortunate that these next 3 guys after Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, Chris Taylor, Edwin Rios, they didn't really do much, right? Cody Bellinger, no hits, right? Chris Taylor, no hits. And it's just in general, we only had 2 walks. That's not Dodger baseball. To have 2 errors, that's also not Dodger baseball. I thought our pitching was pretty good. Now, people want to blame Daniel Hudson. People want to blame, I don't know who people want to blame. But all I'm simply saying is you're not going to win many games if you're going to just score 1 run. And it's not, like I said, it's nothing in particular that Arizona did. I've said this multiple times. If we're going to beat ourselves, like if we're gonna lose, it's generally because we beat ourselves, right? The 2 errors, obviously one of them coming in with the run. So, and last game, right, an error that allowed 2 runs, and so we're seeing this time and time again where the Dodgers aren't necessarily doing anything wrong until the errors come along, right? So that's when Arizona can score, right? So when I'm just taking, this is just a growing pain. Every team goes through this, right? We're 12-6 after 18 games. In such a competitive division with the Giants and heck, even the Padres, but specifically the Giants. Every win counts, right? And I always emphasize that. But at the same time, I know that the Giants will go through growing pains. I know the Padres will go through growing pains. Every team goes through growing pains because you're not going to be great unless you go through the struggle first. And I was looking at this one stat, and it said that we allowed 32 runs in our first 18 games or something of that sort. And that had been the fewest amount of runs a team had allowed at this point of the season since 1981. Since the Dodgers had done that in 1981. And that was the year they won the World Series. So all I'm simply saying is, listen, man, like, we got a really good pitching staff. Our offense just needs to be more consistent, which it will be over time. And we just need to clean up a little bit in terms of fielding or just limiting errors. Because, ultimately errors are probably the biggest slap in the face to yourself that you can do in baseball. But overall, I'm not surprised we lost this game. I'm not surprised we lost the series. It happens, right? We only had 5 hits. Obviously, no homers, 2 walks. It's just uncharacteristic of the Dodgers to do that. But I'm not concerned because, like I said, we're going to have a game in 2 days against the Detroit Tigers. And obviously, that's going to be a series with a lot of historical implications, with Clayton Kershaw being the leading strikeout leader in Dodger history. And I just feel good about this team moving forward because, obviously Julio Urias is only going to continue getting better. And same with these batters, right? I know Muncy will only get better. I know Bellinger will only get better, right? Taylor, like these guys, right? I mean, we lost by 2 runs and we just did not play good baseball at all. So I'm not even going to hold this against them. It's just a growing pain. Every team goes through it. So I advise you guys to not worry. Please do not worry. But other than that, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, comment down below what your guys' thoughts were on the Diamondbacks beating us 3-1, and subscribe more. Alright guys, peace out, and as always, go Dodgers.